Γεια σας παιδιά, πώς είστε όλοι? How is everybody? Good to see you again. I don't know if you remember from last week, but we had started talking about all the Greek gods. Not all of them actually, we talked about 6 of them, and this week I will be talking about another 6. This week it's a little bit different because I'm alone. My family's in here with me. But that's okay. I will try my best to complete it on my own. Please bear with me because I'm not really good with technology, and maybe when you hear my English, don't hesitate to correct me if it's with an accent. And yeah, I'm gonna start by showing you. Let's try and make this a little bit bigger actually. Loading, and there it is. So I'm gonna try by this first page here, and we are going to talk about, like I said, the other 6 gods. Last week, when I did my other presentation with my family, we had talked about Zeus, the king of all gods, one that you can't forget. We talked about Athena. We also talked about Ira. Who's the other one? Hephaestus. Let's find Artemis. And the last one that we did last week was Apollo. This week we will be talking about another 6 gods, which is, let me move my cursor here so you can see where I'm gonna land. And the first one I will be talking to about is Poseidon. We will also talk about Hestia. Another one is Demetra. Then Hermes, Aphrodite, Ares, and I think that's about it. We have 6. I really liked finding this picture here because it is also a bingo. So maybe at the end you can print it out and play some bingo with your family. One of the other reasons I liked this slide here was because there were more than the 12 gods that I will be talking about. And maybe you're curious and you would like to look the rest up as well. One that I would like to talk about, which is extra, is Goddess Iris. And the reason why I chose to talk about an extra goddess today, which is Iris right here, is because she has the same name as my niece, Irila. And she is the goddess of rainbow. Look how beautiful. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. I hope I know how to do that. Slide number 2. And yes, slide number 2 is our first god, Poseidon, which is Poseidon. Poseidon is the god of the sea. He's the god of all storms as well, earthquakes, and horses. Poseidon, ο Ποσειδώνας, είναι αδερφός του Δία. Αδερφός, which means brother, right? You know that. Poseidon was the most bad tempered. He was very moody and very greedy. I would say one of the ones that was the most of all gods. He had lots of anger, and when people would make him angry, he would create kimata, strong waves, and very violent storms. He did all that. Guess with what? Look what he's holding here. He did that with his trident, his triana. That's one of the symbols of Poseidon, and also another symbol of Poseidon was a dolphin, because he would always be seen with dolphins around him, riding on dolphins and, exploring with them. Poseidon also had a temple dedicated to him. His temple is the Temple of Poseidon, and it was put up in 440 BC. And I want to show you the next slide because you will see a nice picture that I have here. And guess who was lucky enough to visit that temple? It was George and Sophia with their Yaya Sophia. They went to the Temple of Poseidon in 2017. Very lucky. They were very fortunate to see and enjoy the beautiful view and the beautiful monument, of course. I haven't been myself, even though I lived in Greece for many years. I never managed to go. So I think at my next trip, I will make sure to visit because it's beautiful. According to Sophia and George, there's a beautiful view as well as from the blue ocean. And yes, I'm looking forward to visiting. And if you end up going to Greece soon, hopefully we all will, I recommend that you visit. As you can see, it's very beautiful. Also, another interesting fact that I wanted to talk about for Poseidon is that he competed with Athena. Do you remember Athena from our last slide last week when I did my video and I was talking about Athena, how you can see her very often holding an olive branch, being near olive trees. So when they competed with Poseidon about Athens, who will get the ownership of the city Athens. Of course, you all know that Athena won because of the name, but one of the reasons that she didn't win was, I don't know if you remember from last time, was exactly this: the olive oil that she, sorry, not olive oil, olive tree that she presented when they were competing. Another last fact that I wanted to tell you about Poseidon, was that he is credited with creating the horses, the aloga. Look how beautiful that is. Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead too soon. So we're going to go back and I'm going to show you the beautiful alogo, the horse that Poseidon created. There he is holding his triana again. He wanted to create something for the love that he had for Demeter back then. And he created a horse because he wanted to impress her. I think he did very well. They're beautiful. Okay, so now we can move on to the next slide, which is Demeter. Demeter. Demeter is Zeus's older sister, and she is the goddess of agriculture, harvest, fertility, and sacred law. Στα ελληνικά είναι η θεά της γεωργίας, θεά της συγκομιδής, της γονιμότητας. Τα σύμβολά της είναι το στάρι, η δάδα και το ψωμί. Her symbols were wheat, the torch, and bread. Demeter had one daughter. Her daughter was named Persephone. And the torch that she holds here often is because Demeter spent many years of her life looking for Persephone because she thought she was no longer um, um, around. She couldn't find her for many, many years. And that made Demeter very sad. Um, Persephone, what happened was Persephone was abducted, and Demeter grieved a lot. Ήταν πολύ στεναχωρημένη η θεά Δήμητρα, τόσο στεναχωρημένη που έβλεπες από την συμπεριφορά της, από τη στεναχώρια της, ότι όλα ήταν μαύρα. Τίποτα δεν ευδοκιμούσε, nothing, the earth became barren, and one of the reflections that Demeter's emotion states when Persephone was not around was that winter was created. We can thank goddess Demeter for that. I don't know right now if I want to thank her, but I'm not really a winter person. But yes, one of the reasons that we do have winter, according to mythology, is because of Demeter and her emotions. Also, Demeter was responsible for making the crops grow every year. At harvest time, always when the first batch of bread came, it was offered to her. Yes, she was very known for, being there for the people and showing them how to do that too, how to grow. Για όλες τις καλλιέργειες ήταν υπεύθυνη η θεά Δήμητρα. And next, I would like to talk about Thea Estia, which means home. Hestia in English. Hestia was Zeus's, Poseidon's, and Demeter's sister. She was the goddess of hearth, home, architecture, family, and the state. Her symbols were a hearth, a fire, and a kettle. Hestia was one of the only goddesses that never got married nor had any kids. Apollo and Poseidon both wanted to marry Hestia, but she refused. Η Hestia δεν είχε κάνει ποτέ παιδιά και ούτε είχε παντρευτεί. Hestia is the Greek word for hearth. The hearth, the meaning of the word hearth, is the floor of the fireplace. In this specific meaning, it means home. Hestia made sure she maintained the hearth fire for the Mount Olympus, of course, where all the gods lived, and for the homes of all the Greek people. The fires that she created were very important because they would help everybody with cooking, of course, and keeping them warm when Demeter brought winter and it was a little bit cold. Um, η εστία, ένα από τα σύμβολά της ήταν η φωτιά και χρησιμοποιούσε τη φωτιά, δείχνει στους ανθρώπους πώς να χρησιμοποιούν τη φωτιά, να μαγειρεύουν και να ζεσταίνονται, να ανάβουν τζάκι. Η εστία επίσης βοηθούσε όλους και όλες τις οικογένειες να μην έχουν τσακωμούς και βοηθούσε τους ανθρώπους να χτίζουν τα σπίτια τους. She would help keep peace in the family and she also taught people how to build their homes. Very beautiful. Moving on, we have another beautiful goddess, actually the most beautiful goddess from what they say, is the goddess of love and beauty. And everybody I'm sure has heard her name. She's goddess Aphrodite. Aphrodite's symbols were the doves, sparrows, swans, mirrors, and roses. Τα σύμβολα της Αφροδίτης ήταν τα περιστέρια, τα σπουργίτια, οι κύκνοι, οι καθρέφτες και τα όμορφα τριαντάφυλλα. Η Αφροδίτη είχε παντρευτεί τον Ήφαιστο. She had married Hephaestus. I have trouble with that in English. She loved making other people fall in love. Of course, she was the goddess of love, so ήθελε αγάπη, love. And she fell in love herself. Even though she was married, she fell in love with Adoni. And the two stories that I have for Aphrodite that explain a little bit of her birth are that she was the child of Zeus Zeus and Dione, Dionian Greek. So ήταν η κόρη του Δία και της Διόνης. And the second part of her birth was that she rose from the foam of the sea. Imagine how she came out of the sea, of the foam. Γεννήθηκε, λένε, από τον αφρό της θάλασσας. Φανταστείτε το αυτό, πολύ όμορφο. Ακούγεται. One other very interesting fact about Aphrodite was that she had a belt. She had a belt that she wore, and that would have lots of power. It had power to make people want and desire her and be with her and be around her. And she would give it to other gods too and make them have the same powers. Είχε μια ζώνη η οποία είχε πολλές δυνατότητες να κάνει τον κόσμο να τη θέλει. Να θέλουν να είναι γύρω της, να θέλουν να είναι μαζί της. Και την έδινε αυτή τη ζώνη και σε άλλους θεούς. Last, I wanted to talk about one very important fact of Aphrodite. She was the inspiration for the Venus de Milo, which is one of Louvre's most prized pieces of statuary. Venus de Milo was created by a Greek sculptor, Alexandro, and the name was from the word Venus, which is the Roman name for Aphrodite, and Milos, which is a Greek island where the statue was first discovered in 1820, and then it was taken to France. Βρήκανε το άγαλμα στην Μήλο και μετά το πήρανε και το πήγανε στη Γαλλία. Okay, it's interesting how this statue has no hands. And that's one of the reasons I think it's very famous, the statue, because of the interesting fact that it has no hands. Moving on to Ares. He was the god of the war. Ares' symbols were a spear, shield, and helmet. He was Zeus's son, and his mother was Ida. Ο Άρης είχε σύμβολά του την ασπίδα, όπως βλέπετε εδώ, το σπαθί του, το δόρυ, την περικεφαλαία του. Του άρεσε να πολεμάει. Όλα αυτά που φοράει εδώ ήταν τα σύμβολά του. Ήταν γιος της Ήρας και του Δία. He had many fights with Hercules, but Ares was always losing. I guess no one can beat Hercules. And I'm excited to say that our next video, now that I mentioned his name, will be from Kyria Georgia, and she will be talking about Hercules, Irakli. Very exciting. Some very good stories about Irakli are coming up. Ares would react to the smallest injuries with absolute rage. He got so mad. Θυμώνε πάρα πολύ για το πιο μικρό ατύχημα που συνέβαινε. Δεν του άρεσε καθόλου να γίνονται ατυχήματα. Ο Άρης, ο θεός Άρης, είχε σχέση με την Αφροδίτη. Και ο άντρας της, ο Ήφαιστος, το έμαθε και προσπάθησε να τους ντροπιάσει σε όλους τους θεούς. Ares had an affair with Aphrodite, even though she was married with Hephaestus. And he tried, Hephaestus of course, tried to humiliate both Ares and Aphrodite. Because he didn't like that. He didn't like that the lies that Aphrodite was saying to him. Also, when Aphrodite fell in love with Adonis, because Ares had an affair with her, he became very jealous. He turned into a boar and he attacked Adonis with his tusks. Ares was so jealous that Aphrodite fell in love with Adonis that he killed him. Ο Άδωνης ήταν ένας από τις μεγάλες αγάπης της Αφροδίτης και όταν ο Άρης το έμαθε, δίλεψε τόσο πολύ. Μετατράπηκε σε αγριγούρνο και σκότωσε τον Άδωνη. Όπως βλέπετε εδώ, as you can see, not very good sight. But these are stories that used to take place. These are part of Greek mythology. And last but not least, we have Hermes, the messenger of the gods. Hermes' symbols were the lyre, tortoise, and caduceus. I have a little bit of trouble with that word too. Caduceus. As you can see here, it's the caduceus. Hermes was the son of Zeus and Maya. Ήταν ο γιος του Δία και της Μάιας. Τα σύμβολά του ήταν η λύρα, η χελώνα και ήταν ο Θεός που έστελνε μηνύματα από τον ένα Θεό στον άλλον, ο αγγελιοφόρος που λέμε. He wore winged sandals and a winged hat. You can see his winged hat here. They both made him run around to give messages faster. He was very fast by wearing the winged sandals and winged hat. Hermes invented the first musical instrument. Sorry, and I was going to say interesting because he made it out of a tortoise. And he just put strings. He took the tortoise's shell and it was a musical instrument that was called lyra. Με τη χελώνα, με το κέλυφος της χελώνας, δημιούργησε το πρώτο μουσικό όργανο, που το λέγαμε λύρα. Let's move on. And we have, let's see, is it this one? Yes. Hermes's magic wand was called caduceus. It had wings, just like his hat and his sandals. And today, the caduceus is the symbol of the medical profession. Hermes's winged hat was called Pegasus, and his winged sandals were called Talaria. He was the only god that was authorized to visit heaven, earth, and the underworld. Ήταν ο μόνος Θεός που μπορούσε να επισκεφτεί τον παράδεισο, την κόλαση και να πηγαίνει μηνύματα πέρα δόθε για τους θεούς. And everyone, we have reached my last slide, which means we have come to the end of this presentation. Θα ήθελα να σας ευχαριστήσω που ήσασταν πάλι εδώ. Ελπίζω κάτι να κρατήσατε από αυτά που είπαμε και να θυμόσαστε. Θα ήθελα να σας πω μερικές ιδέες για να κάνετε αυτή την παρουσίαση λίγο πιο διασκεδαστική. I would like to share some ideas that I found for activities. I would like you to imagine that you have become a Greek god or goddess. We see that sometimes in statues and pictures, gods are shown holding objects and they are wearing things to represent what their powers are. I would like you to draw a picture of yourself. I would like you to draw a picture of yourself as a god or goddess and taking care to show what your power through your clothes you are wearing is, what your powers are or is, if you only have one. And I would like to see some objects around you too. If you would like to create this activity and send it to me, to my email address, I will be very happy to receive it. Also, another idea that I had was for you to create your own myth. Myths are often something that include an interesting setting, a mythical beast, a journey or trial, a captivating ending. So why don't you try and you write your own and use these 4 key ingredients to create your own myth. Θα ήθελα, άμα θέλετε, να μου ζωγραφίσετε πώς θα ήσασταν εσύ ως θέα or θεός. Θέα ή θεός. Όχι or, μην τα μπερδεύουμε τα ελληνικά με τα αγγλικά. Θα ήθελα να μου πείτε τι δυνάμεις έχετε, τι θεά είστε. Και θέλω να βλέπω και σύμβολα γύρω σας, όπως σας έδειξα εγώ για τους άλλους θεούς. Εάν θέλετε να το κάνετε αυτό, θα μου το στείλετε στην ηλεκτρονική μου διεύθυνση to my email address boutapaula@gmail.com ή μπορείτε και να δημιουργήσετε μια ιστορία δικιά σας, ένα μύθο που θα έχει κάτι πολύ ενδιαφέρον. Θα έχει ίσως ένα τέρας, θα έχει ένα ταξίδι που θα πηγαίνετε, ένα τέλος που δεν το περιμένει κανείς. Μπορείτε, νομίζετε εσείς, να δημιουργήσετε ένα δικό σας μύθο, όπως όλους αυτούς που διαβάζουμε τους ελληνικούς? Πολύ θα ήθελα να το δω. Also, one more thing before we go is if you go to kids.nationalgeographic.com, there is a Zeus the Mighty game, very fun, and you can finish off this video having a little bit of fun by playing games. What better than that, right? Wish I was there with you, but unfortunately we have to social distance. We can't. I would like to wish you all a good week, and I will see you very soon. Θα ήθελα να είστε όλοι καλά. Εύχομαι να σας δω όλους από κοντά πολύ σύντομα και να έχετε μια υπέροχη εβδομάδα. Σας ευχαριστώ που ήρθατε. Φιλιά σε όλους. Γεια σας.